Hello. So thank you so much for coming to this Ascension Q&A. So if you don't know me, my name is Chris Wilson. I live in New Zealand. I've been a teacher for could everyone just mute themselves, please? I've been a teacher for lifetimes. And in this lifetime, firstly a history teacher, then a teacher of conscious parenting, and more particularly in the last 10 years, a spiritual teacher, mainly in the area of the Akashic records, which is the energetic record of every experience we've ever had as souls on Earth. I live in Wellington, New Zealand. I've got a husband who's just got up and it's Saturday morning here, and three grown-up children and a little granddaughter. I've written a couple of books. Here they are, mainly about the Akashic records, also talking a lot about the ascension process. So, ascension is the evolutionary upgrade that we're going through at the moment on Earth. Yeah, it's huge. We're all feeling the effects. It is basically a move, an upgrade in consciousness and vibration from a lower vibrational world of the third dimension through the fourth to the fifth dimension. Now, I'm going to talk a bit more later about the third dimension, 3D and 5D. So, planet Earth has been around for billions of years, and we have had other times on Earth when we have reached a higher vibration and been in this fifth dimensional space. It's a beautiful space. It's a space of love. It's a space where we don't suffer. It's a space, a world where we don't fight each other. We don't compete. It's a beautiful, that's what we've got to look forward to is immense. And we've had other civilizations in this vibration, in particular in Lemuria. If you don't know anything about that, maybe Google it later. And in what's called Golden Atlantis. For the last 10,000 years, though, we have been in a lower vibration in the third dimension, and this happened after the fall of Atlantis, or what they call the fall. Patricia Roble, who's one of my favourite teachers, and I know someone here I met at her congress that's on the call, Jean, knows her well. She told us that what we have to realise is we are not getting punished. Earth is not a terrible, awful, shameful planet just because we're the only one in this galaxy that is, still third dimension. We are the lowest vibration. But it isn't because we've done anything wrong. It's actually because we did something right. And I want you to take everything say today with a grain of salt. I don't expect you to believe every single thing I say. I want you to just sort of run everything I say through your heart and see where it sits. So be discerning. But what Patricia Roble, and you can find her online as well, eraofpeace.org. What she said is that many years ago, when Earth was on the verge of another, evolutionary upgrade, or the galaxy was, all the other main sort of planets and star systems, including Earth, were all set, to move upwards in vibration and in consciousness. But there are some souls that weren't up to it, and they weren't on Earth. They were elsewhere, and they were probably quite naughty. And she calls them recalcitrant souls. So they were, and what was going to happen to them is they were, and this sounds like Star Wars or something, they were going to be vaporized and destroyed if the whole galaxy went upgraded in this way. And so um, Planet Earth put their hand up and said, well, we'll have them, we'll take them on. Okay, we can come here. We'll rehabilitate them, it'll be fine. Well, what happened was we didn't and we couldn't. And the energy of these, Patricia calls recalcitrant, I love that word, recalcitrant souls sort of dragged us all down into a lower vibration, and we got stuck in what's called the wheel of karma. And we've been going sort of round and round and round and round and round like that in a washing machine ever since. And some of our old souls of planet Earth, and you've been here. Oh, you, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Just maybe mute yourself. old souls of planet Earth, and it's the ascension process has been hardest for you. And the reason why that is because if you've been on Earth a long time, and lived many, many lifetimes in a lower vibration in the third dimension, there's so many layers of unworthiness. It's been difficult for us to hold that light in a lower vibration. There's layers of trauma, layers of memories of persecution, of betrayal, and so we're carrying all that, and we've had a lot more to shift in this shift than others have. And so if you're finding it really difficult, that'll be why. And I think a lot of you on this call today are old souls, but the old souls, we have suffered. We know all about human life and we know all about the suffering of human life, but we've also got the wisdom accumulated from many, many, many Earth lifetimes. So what we happened last time, wasn't particularly good, but now again, we are on the verge, astrologically, everything is in alignment for another major upgrade, for an evolutionary shift. And on the 21st of December 2012, this happened. And many refer to this as the cosmic moment. But what happened then is planet Earth aligned with the galactic core of the Milky Way. And this is something that only happens every 26,000 years. And we moved up the spiral of evolution. And from that date, this higher vibrational fifth dimensional energy, which I'll talk about in more detail soon, came coming into the earth, and slowly at first, but then with more and more intensity to take us up to the present moment when this year has been unprecedented for the solar flares, for the light that's come in, for the it's been, it's been very, very hard. We've just had wave after wave after wave after wave, and this started just over a year ago. And at the moment, as I speak, we're in the middle of apparently a 40-day purging, really, of the earth. And it started on the 11th of November. We've just finished the first 20 days, and we're now sort of in the last bit leading up to the 21st of December 2024. So that's 12 years on from the cosmic moment. And I know you're probably all sick of saying, hearing people saying things will get better soon, but they really are supposed to. And apparently, it's not the final bit, but things are going to get a lot better, because what's been difficult for us is, though we've known maybe on an intellectual level, and we've certainly felt the effects of the ascension process, we've all, sorry, I'll just have a little sip. The outer world hasn't been reflecting what we sort of know inside, or we understand, or we're being taught is happening. But apparently the outer world will still start to reflect, soon start to reflect it. And in fact, the outer world is, we've got wars going on, we've got all sorts of upheavals and chaos. There's so much turbulence. So that's the ascension process. We're doing it on planet Earth in 20 short years, which, all the other galactic peoples, star beings, and I definitely believe they exist, and they're coming in to support us. They greatly admire us. We are truly heroic in their eyes, because this is almost like an experiment that we're taking part in that's never happened anywhere, ever before. And according to Patricia Cota Roble, who I love, she says that, one day all the sort of information about this experience on Earth will be placed in sort of galactic libraries to sort of help beings throughout time. So we are giving a huge act of service at the moment. Be proud of yourselves, because you're not just here by random chance, like you're here because you actually volunteered to come and you were chosen to come. And you don't have to do anything incredible. All you have to do is just be yourself. Try to make the right choices. Try to choose love over fear. Try to choose tolerance over judgment. Just try every little step of your day to be a good person, to do what you can to sort of build your vibration up, because it will affect the whole, it will affect everyone. And it's the efforts of the masses of people and just sort of staying true to their values and true to their hearts and living good lives that will actually create the shift. It's coming, it's from the inside out. It's not a sort of outside in thing. So what the teachers are saying is that we're actually ahead of schedule, that it's going to happen by 2030, 2032, will be fully fifth dimensional planet. Now, apparently Sirius, I like Sirius because I feel like I know I've had lives there. Sirius, it took 300 years. So here we are. So pat yourselves on the back, but it hasn't been easy. So what happened in the 20th century on this planet was that it was never a given that we would actually ascend. It wasn't necessarily something that would happen because we are a planet of free choice. And Armageddon was talked about, and that's, self-destruction, the end of the world, and that was a potential. But in 1987, there was a very rare astrological configuration called the harmonic convergence. And even though, we didn't have the internet then, it was harder to communicate, the word got around. And a lot of light workers, I was unconscious in 1987. I was unconscious. I didn't really know anything I didn't sort of wake up to all this till the 1990s. But the word got around, and all over the world at certain sacred sites and just ordinary towns and cities, people sort of met up and they meditated and they put out that positive energy for the birth of the new earth. And it's like it lifted the vibration of the planet up to the degree that, it was obvious we were actually going to make it. We were going to make it through the shift of the ages, and ascension was something that was definitely going to happen. And I'm not going to talk about this in this session today, but a lot of souls then who were sort of standing in the wings and thinking, will I go to Earth or won't I go to Earth? A lot of them who are our children, um, they decided, well, we will go, we'll go because it's going to ascend and we want to go in. And so the millennials and the younger generation are here to sort of help with, not breaking down the old systems and building up the new one. So they all sort of started coming in. And then in 2003, there was something called the harmonic concordance, which actually gave the whole ascension process another boost. So if you've got questions as I go, just write them down because we'll get to those soon. So, so that's basically the story of planet Earth. It's an exciting time to be here, but it is not easy. The solar flares have really shaken people up. What November they call Shadow Month, which is like every little thing that we don't want to admit, accept in ourselves was sort of coming up and being reflected back, and quite difficult, quite difficult. So, but basically, the third dimensional world was really a world of competition, a world of greed, a world of sort of self-centeredness, ego, a world of fear, a world of sort of a mass tribal mind of, people being programmed and easily influenced and, not perhaps thinking for themselves, a world that sort of lacked compassion, a world that, was tough where people were in survival mode and there's sort of a scarcity mentality and a real competitive edge. So that's basically, and most of you, as old souls, would have had a lot of lifetimes, living in that energy and that vibration. So it is hard to make that shift personally, But what a lot of us have done is in this lifetime, because it's so important, we consciously chose often situations very early in our childhoods and lifetimes to sort of trigger all the distorted sort of programming that we need to rise above, as part of the ascension process. But we often chose experiences in our lifetimes that would prepare us for our mission, for the work that we're here to do as well. So in terms for the old souls, and as I said, many of you are in that category, it hasn't been easy. And all of us would have had at least one dark night of the soul, and some of us have had many. Now, fifth dimensional energy is much higher in vibration It's what I call the beautiful quantum energy, which is also the energy of the Akashic records. And probably the most exciting thing about it, and I say this in my classes, is that it responds directly to our intentions. So it's much easier to create our reality. So basically, once we sort of let go of all the baggage that we're carrying, from the lower vibrational experiences we've had as souls, God, we can create anything. And the fifth dimensional world is just full of miracles, and it's just going to open us up to much more magnificent versions of ourselves. It's going to be a world of compassion, of love, unconditional love. We love is the key emotion or feeling. It's we're moving towards unity consciousness, away from the 3D world of separation and duality. We're all separate, we're all one, we have to fight each other to unity. So that's where we're heading. It's going to be a much more cooperative world, a much more collaborative world. And a lot of these little souls younger than most of us that are on the call that are coming in, that's their job to sort of bring that in and anchor that. It's going to be a world of love, not a world of fear. Uh, and what we can create together is so exciting, and it's actually, it's beautiful. Um, Many of us would have felt ascension symptoms, and as we're letting go of the layers of pain from life in 3D, and as the light has come in, what light does when it comes into our bodies is if it hits a block of anything that's sort of a lower vibration, basically it can cause physical symptoms. So it can cause physical pains. We can feel really fatigued. We can have mind fog. A lot of people get headaches. I think that's probably been the key ascension symptom for me is headache. And in August this year, I went to Arizona and I went with Jean, who's on this call. Jean was there, and there were 500 of us, and we were anchoring very, very high vibrations for the planet. God, when I came back, I had about a month where I really couldn't really do anything. I was just tired. Like I'd be sitting in my chair and I'd just doze off. But when I came through that other end, I think, I went through a very intense, experiencing all those ascension symptoms very intensely in that time. And I think now I feel fantastic. I feel like I've shifted a lot, and I'm opening up to miracles that are happening sort of on a daily basis. So it's absolutely wonderful. So that was quite a fast track way of doing it. But, when I look back to what I was like before I went over there and now, there's been, and I think if you all look back, I think sometimes, we can be really hard on ourselves and think, oh God, I can't stay in bed all day, because I just feel I can't do that. I've got to get it, we put all this pressure on ourselves. And, when we're feeling like that, just know that you're sort of letting go of something big, and you're going to feel better once you come through it. Having said that, there are some people on this planet and some of you who have actually put your hand out to take it for the team, take one for the team. And there are people that have a soul contract to actually help the collective. So if you're that person, then sometimes, you might, some of the depression you suffer for, it might be, I'm sad to say, like it's something that you're chosen to do and you're not actually releasing your own stuff, but you're actually releasing, stuff for humanity as a whole as well. Usually, our human experiences are directly linked to our mission for the lifetime. There's always a higher purpose of why we, have to go through what we go through. And, the Akashic records, that's why I love them, because they can sort of shed light on that and you can sort of see what the bigger picture is and get some answers. So, not an easy time, but an exciting time. So much to look forward to. This fifth dimensional energy that's coming in is actually activating our DNA, and it will make possible, self-healing. It's increasing our vibration. It's our bodies are changing, literally as I speak, from carbon-based physical bodies into pure light. It's not an easy process. But fifth dimensional life on Earth, there won't be any wars. We won't have to suffer anymore. It'll be easier. We'll be more connected to our soul. We'll learn to go with the flow, but it's hard. It's like we're snakes and we're having to shed a whole lot of skins to get to that point. And I think what I've learned to do, and I haven't always done it, but what I've learned to do is just not to really resist. And you all know that. Like if you resist, it just gets worse. So just to surrender is the thing. And I think a lot of us are just being broken down until we get to that point. But in a way, that's exciting because it's almost like the ego. I think as a human being, you always have to have an ego in some form or other, but it's definitely in the fifth dimension, it's not going to be, have so much power. It's going to be more of a soul-centered existence. And we have got these 12 layers of DNA that were called junk in the third dimensional earth because they couldn't express themselves because the vibration was so low. And one of the things that's happened in the last 20 years is they are being activated and they're opening us up to our multidimensional selves, to gifts, talents, and abilities that we sort of didn't know we had, to the ability to heal ourselves, to rejuvenate ourselves, to connect more with the spiritual realms, with the ascended masters and beings of light that are out there. So this is just going to continue, you know. And I'm sure a lot of you have probably had experiences and you thought, God, that was so weird. Or if you look back to 10 years and, particularly if you're a light worker, to what you were doing 10 years ago and what you're doing now. It's obvious that, your abilities and capacities have really grown and evolved and expanded. So just expect more of that. So yeah, we've got so much to look forward to. Um, Basically, we're moving into a whole new way of living. It's going to be more community based, and we will all be connected from the heart. So, you know, just to do your bit, it's about trying to choose love, and we can't always do that because as part of the shadow releasing purging process we're going through, there's a lot of triggering going on. So what some of you may have noticed in November particularly is just really triggered by sort of people outside of yourself or events and the thing is when you are triggered, what I've learned, what I try and do, but it's not always so easy in the moment, is not sort of blame the person or judge the person, but look at it afterwards and think, well, what were they revealing in me? Because whatever happens, it's like a mirror, they're holding up a mirror. What work do I have to do on myself? And what have I learned from this? And also in the aftermath, not being too hard on yourself, you know. Okay. So it's all about, and self-love is also the key too, just getting to that place. But that's not necessarily easy either. If we've had like over 1,000 lifetimes of feeling unworthy, quite hard. So going from we'll open up to questions soon. Going from the third dimension to the fifth is about going from fear to love, from separation to unity, from head to heart, from victimhood to personal responsibility, from ego to spirit, from competition to cooperation, from conflict to peace, judgment to compassion, from dishonesty to integrity, from secrecy to transparency, from limitation to empowerment, from just surviving to thriving, from our human selves to our soul selves, from suffering to joy, from tragic to magic, which is the name of my book. There it is. Got copies available on all online booksellers. and from my website as an ebook. So now, question time. I'm going to throw us open to questions. So what I'll do is I'll bring you all back. Hello, everybody. Hello to those that have just joined us. So, who's got a question? Who'd like? Hi, Noel. Nice to see you. So, who's got a question? Now, I sort of got told before they might not want to say questions, so you might have to say they can put them in the chat. But I'd rather hear them. I don't think I've got any chat yet, so that's good. I'd rather hear them if you'd like to ask one. So Noel's got one, so we'll go to you. Thank you. Thanks, Noel.
Hi, thank you so much for doing this, Chris. It's wonderful to see all these people all on the same path. It's fantastic. I I was I'm curious, is it possible that there are beings right now who have successfully shifted into the fifth dimension already and are living amongst us in the fifth dimension?
I think so. Yeah, this is what I understand. Okay, so the Pleiadians went through this 2 million years ago, and they are our star parents. The Syrians, I believe, went through this before them and are like our star grandparent. And the Arcturians went through this before that and are like our great grandparent. But what I understand is there's a lot of galactics amongst us. And towards the end of last year, we really connected. We were able finally, after millions of years, or millions, thousands, I don't know, a long time, we were able to connect to the grand central sun again, and that has opened things up in terms of our galactic, the beings of light that can actually help us and connect to us. And they, the rest of this galaxy and beyond has got a huge vested interest in what happens here, because if we successfully ascend, then they can sort of move up further in the spiral of evolution as well. But I also believe that, the reason I said before that they really admire us and want to help us. Because as I said, we put our hands up and we took on some souls that have lived on Earth and done some quite dastardly things. And I think some of them are still in action because they're not, it's hard to, but having said that, we've all got the dark and light within us. So it's not about looking out and pointing the finger, but and we can learn a lot from the actions of those. So I just sort of feel, recently the stuff I've been reading and understanding is, there's a lot of galactic beings amongst us. I actually feel like I met one at San Francisco Airport when I was heading off to Mount Shasta. And suddenly this woman was there and she was, God, I just felt like she was Lemurian actually. But she was just very tall, very commanding. And I went to the bathroom. I came back, she'd completely disappeared. But she was gorgeous. She was over 6 foot and she had these blue eyes that were like, and anyway, I feel like I was meant to meet her. But I think, they're sort of anywhere. And, there are some of you have got really strong galactic connections as well, you know. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Noel, but yeah, they're
Well,
definitely walking amongst us, I'm getting told.
yeah, one of the reasons I'm asking is because I feel like I'm teeter-tottering kind of right on the edge because recently, finally, after many years of going through much hell, I would say, more hell than good, but obviously for my own evolutionary process and whoever else is involved for their process too. But I feel it's almost like coming out and landing on a cloud and looking around and having a completely different perspective and seeing lots of light, feeling lots of light. And actually, I did an experiment the other day where I was transporting the light I was feeling into somebody else's home to see what would happen,
Right.
just to test it. And feeling happy. Like I haven't known the meaning of the word happy for years and years and years, except for little spurts here and there, right? So now I'm just I decided I joined your miracle course, and one of my miracle questions, what or requests was to learn how to experience happiness on a daily basis. So then, if I could figure it out, then I could teach others how to be there every day. So I actually managed to go for 2 weeks straight.
Oh,
And so that was like amazing. It was very exciting. And then I dropped off a little bit, but then I got back on the bandwagon, right? So it's been magical. And
oh.
thank you for all your directions and your miracle course and everything, because I've definitely been tapping into magic.
Oh, no, that's great. I think you've got galactic. What all of us have to realize is we're much more connected galactically now. And they're right there. The beings of light are just around us all the time now. And they're really, apparently they work with us when we're asleep. So if you're feeling a bit off, you can just say, please, beings of light, just work with me to heal while we're, in my sleep state. But they do it anyway. But sometimes if you actually ask, you do have to ask. But, so it's exciting because we are galactic beings. Like, we're all star seeds. We've all had soul existences. We haven't just always lived on Earth, but we were the brave ones that agreed to come here. And at times, some of us have wondered why, say yes to that. It's like, when you have a life and before it, you tick every box. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, it's fine, when you're on the other side and you're not feeling the human emotions. But when you get here, it's like, God. So it's not necessarily an easy ride, but we have got huge support. The beings of light are right there. They want to help us. We all have galactic origins, and you can ask about those in the Akashic records. And I think it sounds wonderful, the happiness, because really what everyone wants is to be happy and to have inner peace, don't they? And well done for sustaining it that long. And when you fall off the wagon, and this is sort of I'm saying this to everyone, don't beat yourself up.
Oh,
You've
no,
had one little day, you can't, it's a process that you can't completely transform overnight, but that's fantastic, and the best teachers are the people that have sort of been through that suffering and yeah, and come out the other side. So that's fantastic, Noel. Thanks for that. So who's next? Who's next? Gayleen, hello. Hi.
Hello, Chris. Yes, I'm in Wellington as well, and it's lovely to be speaking with you and the others. Chris, I was just curious about talk of us being whole people and the gender issue, really, and about is it being androgynous in a way, like incorporating our masculine, feminine side. So that's what I'm interested in and asking about.
Well, what I understand is part of the process because we're coming into unity, consciousness, is we do have to become whole. And that's part of the reason why we have to deal with all our, you know, stuff, all the sort of shadow parts and sort of bring it in together. But we've also, of course, all had lifetimes where we've been the other gender. I sort of feel I've had mainly female ones, but my immediate past life was a male one, you know. Um, and I have seen a future life of mine and I was so androgynous. I saw myself, and I'm going to take you through a visualization later because as part of it, I'm going to connect you to a future life. So, because we're going to go into the Akashic records, I'm going to connect you to a future life, fully ascended version of yourself. So, it can help you because it's the future you that's sort of already gone through this process that you can bring in, to help you. But when I saw mine, like I didn't know if it was a he or she, like really androgynous. And definitely it's the whole gender thing that the new souls that have come in, the children, are experiencing. And it's probably always happened, but I think it's probably more pronounced now. And I feel like it's a lot of children, they sort of come in as souls from places where they don't have genders, you know, and so they might come in a female body, but not really feel identify with that. And so that's like a huge thing, but it's all part of a big process for people to realize to get out of those little limiting boxes that we were in sort of 3D, and open up to be more tolerant of neurodiversity to, gender dysphoria to everything like that, you see. And so I think definitely as Earth evolves and we get more into the fifth dimension, genders are not going to be so the role of the whole gender thing, it's just like what gender does in a way is it's a sort of a separation, So anything that sort of separates us is just going to merge more. And, male, female, already it's wonderful, young sort of male couples with children, you know what I mean? So there's been that sort of move. It's all part of this energy, I feel. Um, I'll just think if there's anything else I need to say. You can just sort of see it. So I think we are going to become more androgynous, and definitely the divine feminine has been integrated in the last few years. And what the whole planet is having to do, as a result of, all these years of the third dimensional sort of lower vibrational to come back into balance. So I think, just the female power, women sort of finding their voice, and, we have been men in other lives, obviously, but also men sort of connecting with the feminine aspects within inside themselves is all part of that balancing out. And the balancing out needs to happen so that, we can become whole. And a lot of our work, like you'll all identify with this, a lot of our personal work in this lifetime has been about, coming into a state of wholeness. And I don't think I know any healer that has works with other people that hasn't had to do inner child work, for example. And often our childhood was the thing in this lifetime that sort of set us up, was also like a real catalyst to release a lot of, the past life pain and trauma. And so inner child work, you know, the trauma modalities now are sort of all about connecting with sort of aspects of us that have sort of split off through trauma and bringing them back into integrating them, and so definitely wholeness and healing are sort of side by side. So it's sort of exciting. And the energy, as it moves higher into a higher vibration is more about multidimensionality as well. So it's not, you know, what Cryon, who's channeled by Lee Carroll, says is 3D is sort of like black and white, and 5D is like moving into color. And I just know from the students in my classes, they have all these amazing, like multi-dimensional abilities. Because we weren't really meant to live on Earth to be boring. Like, you know, fifth dimension's much more exciting than 3D. And we weren't all meant to think the same and look the same, and you know what I mean? So I think there's some amazing younger people that are all trying to teach us this, you know. And if you're a parent that's maybe really close-minded on a soul level, you choose to have a child that's really going to rattle your cage. And I had one that rattled my cage, but I'm grateful to her now. But I probably necessarily wasn't at the time, years ago when that happened. So I don't know. Is that answered that to a
Mm,
degree, Galen? Yeah.
thank you, Chris.
So,
Mm.
next question. If you're sort of worried about the Ascension symptoms, like anything, if you go online and Google it, they'll all come up. And sometimes it does explain, why you're feeling how you were. Couldn't believe how tired I was after that Congress, Jean. I just came home and sat in my chair for a month and went to sleep. And then I had to wake up and do some work, but I feel, I do feel good now. The other day, I'll just tell you a little story. I had a sort of there's things happening with past lives as well. Like I met up with somebody, and there was a bit of a trigger there, and then I just had the sore neck for about 3 days. So I went into my Akashic record and I asked about it, and I got told that this actual particular person I had to meet up with again karmically had actually had me hung in another life. So my cellular memory in my neck was remembering that. And also in one life I had with this person, it was so dire that I actually hung myself to sort of escape. So what the body does, it's when it's releasing, sometimes it's just releasing old memories, and that can be quite painful too. Um, Now, if you're into Ascension, a lot of you will know, would have heard of Tim Wild, and I love Tim Wild. So it's TIMWHILD. And if you want to follow him, he's on Facebook, but it's called Practical Ascension. And he gives like an Ascension update each week about sort of where we're at, what's happening. And stuff like that. And I actually met him last year in Dorset, and that was very exciting. I hugged him about 3 times. I'm still feeling the after joy of that. Anyway, I'm sure he probably won't remember me, but I remember him, and he was a high priest in Atlantis, and he's done a lot of work, amazing Ascension work. And what I found is this also really good Facebook page or group, and the people are so humble because humility's the fifth dimensional attribute. That write it. You don't even know who writes these beautiful channel messages, but the group is called Ascension Lightworkers, and it's really, really good. It has really amazing, almost daily posts on what's sort of happening on the planet. And, often if you read them, you can relate. And it's just very, very helpful because sometimes, at the moment on Earth, it's not easy. You sort of feel like you're all alone and, you know, you're making things up, only you and you're, yeah. But so there are two really good people sites that can help you. So, question, anyone? We've probably got about another 10 minutes for questions, and then we're going to do the guided visualization. If you don't, you can put one in the chat if you don't want to speak up. Oh, have you got one, Jean? Oh, yeah. Do you want to? You have to unmute yourself, but I'm sure you can do that. Just have to unmute, Jean, because I can't hear your question. So we'll just wait for that. Um, if you can't, we can, you can stay behind later, and we can look at your question then. So I can come back to you, Jean. I won't leave you at the end. We'll stop at the end, and I can, because I don't, yeah, it's sometimes quite hard to unmute. So who else has got a question? Is it, oh, Lee? No, no. Okay, so I might have, if no one's got any questions, I'll give you a wee bit longer. I might have questions for you. No, okay, that's good. Right, so this is a Q&A, so I can ask questions. So does anyone want to talk about how they're dealing, with this sort of bit of tricky time, this personally, what if they've got any tools that they use to sort of, I loved hearing from Noelle about how she was focusing on happiness. And has anyone got any little tools or suggestions or ideas, things that are helping them through these sort of tumultuous times that they can share? You've got one, Noelle? Okay, we'll just unmute. Yep.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to share that I really discovered that the higher vibrational level you get into, so whether you're taking, so for example, I had no desire particularly to practice Reiki or something, but I found it an avenue. I was guided to it and told to take it basically by my guides, and have discovered how much through taking it, it's risen my vibrational level a lot. Like every time I take one of their courses, I raise another vibration. So what I've discovered is there's all kinds of these spiritual courses out there. And when you take them, they raise your vibration and it really cuts through the garbage, the stuff that makes you feel like shit. And the things that make it challenging to get up in the morning at times, and I found it can be very inspiring too. So I'd highly recommend, doing these courses, different things. There's so many out there now, and they have all these podcasts. Even if you just go on to some of these podcasts that are out there, they can be just very inspiring. And you see that you're not alone and that there's just so many people that are going through this and doing it, that it just helps. And of course, the main thing of all, most important of all, that I've learned that I resisted for quite a long time is to actually ask for help. Calling and asking, or not calling anybody, but just asking your guides. We all have we all have a person, we have more than one personal guide, but again, as my vibrational level rose, then I was able to tap into more of these guides. And so that really has helped me because the different guides were able to help me in different situations or areas. And I just then started to practice asking for their help or tuning into them, including dragons and unicorns, which have been very beautiful to add to things. And I didn't know anything about those, and I thought it was very airy-fairy until I went to Chris's course for level 3. And that was the first time I ever experienced actually tapping into something like that. And it was, of course, for me at the time, mind-blowing because I was at a much lower resonance at the time. But it showed what was possible, and so then that sets the bar higher, right? And it helped encourage me. Oh wow, there's this whole world I don't know anything about, and it helped me to keep overcoming and moving towards that. With when I got the rough stuff, as I call it, come up that I had to dredge through to clear the way. But definitely vibrationally raising your vibration and asking for help are all these things that make things a lot easier to just cut through the hard times. So
Thanks, Noelle. No, definitely raising your vibration, keeping it high is should be a priority. And it's not that hard, but it's like every day, being careful what you engage with, having maybe a ritual to start the day, using tools. I've found the Akashic records invaluable. They completely lifted me out, as I said, of tragic, of despair, of a lower vibration into a higher vibration after being in them regularly since 2010. I now feel I have most days a really direct connection to source. It's not about me anymore. It's about my soul. It's about the mission. And most of the time I have, I have peace, and it's just beautiful. But you have to make a conscious decision. This is the planet for free choice. And you have to turn off, be very careful what you engage with, what you listen to, what you take on board, what you ingest in every way, you know. So any drama, steer clear, just and with Christmas coming up, like, it's all easy when we can sit at home in our little private place and do our work and not have to interact much with the world. But when we sort of get out there and meet, maybe wider family or other people, sometimes it's a bit more challenging. So it's about just, really trying to stay in that space. I personally have found the Akashic records really helpful because, like the Reiki, like they put the sort of fifth dimensional field of energy around you, which makes it much easier to stay in that sort of higher vibrational and loving space. So, Heather, what were you going to add? Heather's an amazing teacher and friend and does some incredible work. So, what little tips have you got, Heather?
Oh, look, and one little area, well, obviously being in the Akashic Records is one. And another that really helps me a lot is if I'm feeling an overwhelm, particularly in this busy time, is just stepping into what I would like the 2-minute meditation, because often we don't have time to. I'm going to talk to it. Often I don't have time to, sit down and do 20 minutes or, and if I'm feeling an overwhelm in any situation, I'm just basically turning away and excusing myself or whatever, and just it might be to go to the bathroom or whatever, and just closing my eyes and bringing myself back into the now and breathing my awareness back into my solar plexus and holding it and just really bringing, it just can take 30 seconds. It really doesn't have to be a long time, and just allowing the chatter to go and to be able to be in a much calmer situation. I do this about 5 or 6 times a day, seriously. Yeah, I just breathe in, bring myself back into the now, bring myself back into the I am present. And I just say, excuse me for a moment, and I just make that time. And it's helped me enormously to just be calm, be present, and stay out of that overwhelm. And also the other thing is I've learned to get out of my own way. Like to just step aside and allow spirit to give me the message, not for it to get caught in my mind, just bring it down into the heart and then take it out to the world. And I mean, I certainly use the mind, but more to give me reasons for solutions to what's going on in my heart. Okay, I'm going to do this. Mind, give me some solutions for this. Don't take me into overwhelm. So, yeah, I just love those to keep the calmness and to keep the
Oh
yeah
no, well, I actually love that. I love that, Heather, because I love
yeah
it. And just the whole thing with breathing
yeah.
is, is apparently, the breath work is what connects us to source,
Mm.
and that peace and that stillness, and just taking time out. Of course, being in nature is really good, and yeah, so that's yeah. So thanks for that.
Yeah, just
I'm just wondering if someone's wanting Lee to mute because I think
oh
there's been a wee bit of background noise here. So someone was asking. So so Heather, that was really, really helpful. And I think just the whole thing about getting out of the way. Like about 2 years ago, I sort of thought, oh, when I started teaching, I just put myself over there and my soul would take over. God, it makes life easy.
oh
So
yeah.
much easier.
And
You
trust.
surrender and hand over and you just say, okay. And every day, like I've got this fantastic PA that's not a person, it's like and I just say, look, please, help me with all my work and everything I do today. And then I might go on and I need a picture for an email I'm sending out and the right one pops up. So this is what we've got to look forward to in the fifth dimension because the soul will be in charge, and the soul doesn't suffer, the soul. So that's the transformation really that we're making. We're sort of moving from a human sort of ego-centered sort of real mind life of having to be in control. And we've had to be like that, to survive. Like if you think about all those years in the third dimension, all the lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, we just had to do what we could to survive. And if you think about karma that you may have, because what's getting cleared at the moment is karma. We were lifted off the wheel of karma in 1987 with the harmonic convergence after that beautiful energy that came in then. So karma is sort of mainly cleared, and all the souls that are coming in now don't have karma. And it's not like a huge issue now, but you will sort of feel it. It's almost instant. Like if you sort of say and do something that's out of integrity, it comes back immediately to sort of bite you, on the backside. But that whole thing, we're leaving all that behind now, and it's just really, really exciting. So I've probably got time for a really quick question, and I do want to hear from Eugene. What we'll do is if you can't come off mute because you're muted, and I know it's sometimes quite hard for you to unmute yourself, I'll just stay behind and I can answer it then. Okay? I won't forget. I can stop the recording and answer it. So, is there any other questions? Just a quick one before we move on to the guided visualization. So, is there any note? Oh, thank you for that.
These Catherine's got one.
Oh,
Um,
Catherine.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Catherine. Right. Oh, sorry, Catherine. Thanks. Thank
It's
you.
okay. Thank you,
Oh,
whoever spoke up.
Catherine, I know. Catherine, what's your question?
Well, I don't actually have a question. It's so nice to see you, Chris, because I had your sessions, I think, when you were very first starting. You did the Akashic records for me. Um, but I work as a body code practitioner. I release trapped emotions and all kinds of stuff. And just people, when I go back to find the very earliest ex whatever created whatever the person's dealing with now. So often it is that point where the soul being, or whatever you want to call it, the soul energy was coming down to earth because a whole lot of soul energy was like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and they get there. And then they get in the womb and they feel the gravity, and it's like, oh no. And so there's all this people that have a whole lot of this resistance and also this you're talking about the feeling of unworthy. That is like so huge on the planet. It's amazing how many people have that as like a core thing, and to hear that, no wonder I can't remove it in one go because it's so many lifetimes and it's so many It's so embedded. Anyway, everything you've been saying has just been like boom, 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 boom. So thank you so much for this session. It's just been really great.
I think,
And oh, one last thing, create the habit of joy. That's what
oh,
I've noticed.
yeah,
When people, I clear all this stuff for them, but they haven't got the habit of looking for joy or experiencing joy or talking about joy, and creating a habit of joy is really, really important. Yeah.
I agree, Catherine. Oh no, it's because yeah, I just if I didn't wasn't joyful, what's the point of being here? What's the point of doing what
Yeah.
I'm doing? I've got to feel joy, and that's one
Yeah.
of my conditions. And
Mm.
it's a contagious, it's infectious joy. You know,
Yeah. Create the will
and
to
it
live.
raises the vibration. It's
It's
beautiful.
very basic.
So,
It's
so
core.
that work that you're doing, Catherine, is really amazing. In the Akashic Records too, you can get to the seed cause of things. What I'm
Mm,
finding, like with my work in the records, is things, used to take longer, but that's happening faster.
mm,
And as the vibration shifts and you have that really pure intention out for the healing, it's happening much faster and more quickly. You don't need so many. So it's amazing. It's really amazing stuff.
mm.
So thanks everybody for being here today. We're just going to end. So if you can all mute yourselves. Now, I'd like permission to open all your Akashic records for the purposes of this guided visualization. Because when you're in the energy of the Akashic records, it takes you immediately into the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is just a very powerful magical energy for manifesting. Like it will take on the energy of the words that I say and create amazing things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to in this guided visualization, I'm going to take you to connect with a couple of your spirit guides, your higher self, and um, you're going to connect with a future life, a fully ascended aspect of you that's living in linear future time. And you're going to find out more about why you're here now, what your job is, how you can do it, and things like that. So, what's your role in the ascension process? So, if you are happy with me to open your Akashic record for you, just either say out loud because you're all muted or just silently in your head, I give permission for Chris Wilson to open my Akashic record for the purposes of this exercise. So I ask that the Akashic records of all those who have given their permission now be opened. So take a deep breath in and breathe out. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. We are living at a pivotal time on Earth. We are not here by chance, but by choice. We have chosen and been chosen to be here at this time when Earth is moving up in vibration and consciousness. This time on Earth is the culmination of many cycles of time for all souls on Earth and for Gaia herself. On a soul level, we have been preparing for the shift of the ages for many lifetimes. Our planet, Earth, has also been preparing for this momentous time. Advanced planning has gone into our current lifetimes. Before this incarnation, our childhood circumstances and life experiences were carefully thought out with ascension in mind. We chose the best possible situation to firstly provide a catalyst for releasing and healing any distorted programming and wounding from our 3D lifetimes. And secondly, to set us up to successfully fulfill our divine mission. So take some time now just to think back over this lifetime and of the challenges you have faced. See how those challenges have got you to where you are now. See the strengths you have gained and the lessons you have learned through these challenges. If it feels right for you, reflect on the gifts of your life experiences and give thanks for them. Two of your spirit guides are joining you now. Allow them to introduce themselves. Joining them is your higher self and a future life fully ascended soul aspect of you. You are traveling through time. You are traveling into the future, searching for the future life fully ascended and activated soul expression that can most help you now. And Repeat out loud or say silently in your head, I ask that the future life soul expression that can most help me now. I ask that the future life soul expression that can most help me now come forward to meet me. Smile and greet this wonderful aspect of you. Ask them these questions and listen carefully to what they have to say. Where do you live and when? What is the most important thing you are achieving in your life? What is the most important thing you are achieving in your life? Your higher self, your future life self, and guides are here to help you in any way they can. In particular, they would like to help you to fulfill your mission on Earth in this lifetime. So if it feels right for you, out loud or silently in your head, ask the following questions and wait for the answer to come. Why did I choose to come to Earth at this time? Why did I choose to come to Earth at this time? How am I making a difference? How am I making a difference? What is my soul mission? What is my soul mission? How can I achieve this? How can I achieve this? What is my next step? What is my next step? Feel the beautiful energy of your soul and your guides. Ask them for any specific help you need right now. Hug your future life, fully ascended self, and pull in their wisdom, balance, integrity, love, and compassion to help you now. I place the seal of pure source energy on and over us. It is done. It is done. It is done. I ask that the Akashic records of all those listening to this, now or later, who have given their permission, be closed. So just when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I hope you're all okay. Thank you for coming. I have to do more of these. Well, it's easy. I like it. It's a nice way. Sometimes I feel a bit alone. It's nice to connect. It's lovely to see some old friends and faces. So yeah, all the best for the festive season, wherever you are in the world. And I just noticed something before that Sandra put up. She mentioned the power of the violet flame. And I would agree, like it's really powerful in transmuting anything that's no longer serving us. And so if you haven't heard of the violet flame, Google it. It's the violet flame of Saint Germain, and it's just such a powerful thing. And it was gifted to us in 1987 to use for the Ascension process. And I'll just finish with some words that Patricia Coda, oh thanks Karen, Patricia Coda Roble said at the Congress that Jean and I were at. Jean's on this call. And she said, we can do things the hard way or the easy way. So obviously the easy way is love. the hard way, is fear. And you all know, you're all really strong, beautiful light workers who can inspire others to step on this pathway. So thank you so much. And I will put this up on my Facebook page, and thank you. And on YouTube today. So thank you. And Jean, I want you to stay behind. It's not because you've been naughty. It's just because I haven't answered. You've unmuted yourself.
I think I
So lots of love. Have a wonderful day and all the best in the weeks ahead. And in New Zealand, we're coming into summer. Yay. So lucky us. Lots of love to everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.